Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video where I'm going to be talking about manifesting money. Manifesting money is something that a lot of people want to learn because I think most people need money or want money or money is important. And I don't deny money, the value of money because it is a reality. You cannot eat money like the paper, but you need money to buy food that you need to eat, right? So there is a certain relevance of money, even though people say money can't buy happiness and money cannot make you happy, but there is a certain relevance of it that we need to understand. And in this video, by the end of it, my intention is to let you know how you can also become a money generator or a money manifester. So let's get started. So friends, I'm going to tell you a story, a very interesting story that will help you to know it's a magical story. Lots of magical incidents have happened to me in my life, and I'm really grateful to God. So one of this incident is that few years back, I was pretty young. I was still a teenager, but I had started earning money. So I was probably 19 or 20 years old, I think. I don't remember my exact age. If I actually calculate, maybe I can get the figure, but I don't remember it right now. But I do remember that my mother had met me, or she was with me, and she had to go back in an emergency situation. She had to go back to my hometown, to her hometown actually. My hometown is here only. So she had to go to meet someone, and there was some emergency, and she really needed money for it. And back then, my parents were not doing that well financially. My father was not keeping well, and my mother was mainly producing income via the kitchen garden. I mean, she had a very big kitchen garden, and she used to grow vegetables over there, and she used to grow like good amount of vegetables. We also have farmland, but with farmland or with the produce you get, it's like you don't get money instantly. So whatever it was, she needed money, and I was the only one who was earning money back then in my house. I was the bread earner for quite a while, and I was very young when I started earning money. First, when I started earning money, it was just a hobby. It was just time pass because all my adults or my seniors were earning money, and I used to find it very fascinating. And one of the girls was very inspiring. She had been on bed for almost 2 years after an accident. So when she went to look for a job, she would say that I don't want to be a burden on my parents. I want to be independent and I want to contribute to my family. Those statements inspired me a lot. That was the first time how I started doing part-time jobs, or I started doing, events. First, I started with events and promotions. I was very young. I was just 15 years old when I started that. I could make money, and I learned as a child. My parents were not very happy to find out that I was doing some kind of part-time jobs or promotions, because at that time everything was pretty good. After 2-3 years of me working, some things happened in my household, and I actually took over, which was, I think, destined. And all of the things I had done before that were basically culminating to the fact that I became financially independent at a very young age. But still, problems can come. Even if you're getting a monthly salary, that doesn't mean that something cannot happen in the middle of the month. So now my mother needed money, and I have always been a person, I don't like to borrow money from anyone unless there's a life and death situation or something is happening, someone is depending on me, and without my help they cannot do it. Maybe that kind of situation I can still think. But back then I was like, borrowing never even came to my mind. Borrowing or begging or asking or stealing, these kind of things never used to come to my mind. So I just had faith. My mother said that I need a certain X amount, which I'm not going to quote here, it's not even required. She said she needed this much, and I told her, okay, let me get back to you. That's all I said to her. I went to the bank, I went to the ATM. I knew I had nothing in my bank account. I just knew it. Of course, we all know how much our balance is. My balance was zero. But I don't know why, what type of magical faith it was. Maybe it was young age, maybe it was just belief. I don't know why I went to even check it when I knew that I have no money. I was very positive that I will give money to my mother. I will help her out in this situation. So I went to the ATM. I put the card inside the ATM machine. I checked my balance. It was zero. It was zero or something, like very little amount was there. And I took the ATM card out, and lo and behold, cash started coming out. Oh, it was just stuck there. It was there. Cash. And I pulled the cash out. Because in that instant, I thought that did I put in some amount? Was there money in my account and I'm not able to fathom it? What was it? Because there was nobody there before me, and the ATM machine was like plain blank in its condition the way it is. Because I remember putting in my card, and back in those days you had to put the card in. The card used to get swallowed by the machine and later on come out. So there's nothing, there was no money, absolutely zero. Nothing was there at that point in time. So I was like, how did this money come out from my ATM card? So I pulled the money out. It was a bunch of cash. By that time, I had not even counted it. And I thought maybe it's somebody else's. Maybe the person before me who came here, maybe it's that person's cash. So I went out looking for the person. And I saw one man like with his back, and he was just running away from me. I don't know why. And I said, hey, listen, just stop. Did you leave your cash in the ATM machine? Hey, just come on, stop. I was like that. And he was like, don't talk to me, that type of sign or gesture he gave me. And I'm showing him the money like this, cash, like it's your money. See, even in that moment, I was honest. But he just went away. He ran and he literally disappeared in front of me. And I was like, that is very strange. Like, I'm showing him the cash, I'm waving at him, he's not stopping. Then I went to the guard and I showed the cash to the guard. Like, I told him in my language, in Hindi, that hey, I took out money from the ATM, and I started showing it to him. I just got money, because I later on realized that whatever I was saying must not have made any sense to him, because that's what people do. They don't go to the ATM to sing and dance. They put the card in and they take the money out. So I was showing him the money, and I was like, hey, you listen, I put the card in and this money came out, and I didn't have money in my account, but this money came out. And he was looking at me, and then he started looking away, because he thought I'm cuckoo in the head, like something is wrong with me. Because what else do you go inside the ATM? First he was like, yeah, okay. And then he was like, okay. I was like, maybe he's thinking I'm showing it off to him. Maybe this poor man is thinking that I'm trying to make him feel poor. I don't know what it was. And I said, okay, fine. Then I put the cash in my hand and I walked towards my car. And then I was still in a moment, like there was still trance. Sometimes I go into trance and after 20 minutes I get out of it. 20 minutes, 10 minutes. And back then, all this psychic ability, all this intuitive powers, this, that, looking at things from other dimension, it was not very important for me, like it was, I was not focusing on it. I obviously had my master. I used to talk to my master. I was doing my meditation. I've been meditating since I was a baby, by the way. So for me, how people say, oh, I learned meditation and now I know about meditation, was not like a fancy thing. I was like, I thought everyone is doing this. That's how my reality was. Because by birth, I was doing meditation. I was by birth involved in mindfulness practices. It was only when later on we started reading about manifestation, mindfulness, meditation, and I was like, well, we're all doing it, isn't it? So yeah, then I put the cash in, and when I was driving home, that's when it struck to me. This was magic. God's magic. That's when it struck to me. Because imagine you are trying to talk to people. The guy before me didn't want to listen to me. The guard started looking away. And there was no one around me. Like I was looking, even at the ATM machine, it was pretty empty that day. Usually ATM machines, there's always some kind of crowd at the marketplaces. That day, it was all empty. Very less people. And when I counted the amount, I was baffled because it was exactly how much I had thought in my head I needed. That was the more baffling thing that happened to me. Mind boggling. So today, after so many years, I realize now that I'm talking to you guys that what was the thing that made it happen? It was faith. It was just very strong and blind faith that God is with me. God is going to help me right now. And let's just go to the ATM. Let's just go to the ATM and check. Even though I knew I didn't have any money. Of course, I was going to get my salary after a few days. But that time, I had an emergency. And it was God who took care of that emergency by magically giving me cash. Magically. Which is like, I know it is impossible, just like the airport story. The other day I shared with you guys my airport story, how I magically got so much cash at the airport. Whereas the people with me got very small percentage if you compare with what I got. They got probably 6,000-7,000 Indian rupees and I got so much money. Why? Because I left my house with my bags with faith. Faith. God is there. God will give money for my inner work. That kind of faith, I know, can sound a bit crazy. But along with the faith, there is also one action that is needed, which means that you still go ahead and do whatever is needed. You still go ahead and continue living your life. So going to the ATM was not continue living your life. Going to the ATM was a normal random thing. Other than that, I continued with everything. I told my mom, okay, you need this much money, you will get it. And then I started doing my normal things. Getting ready for work, looking for something. I mean, I didn't even think of this problem the next minute. And today, when I bifurcate these things scientifically, metaphysically, and as a spiritualist, I realize that, well, this is the process. This is the process. You just keep doing whatever you love. You keep moving on to the next moment without carrying the baggage or the fear of the past previous moment. It's a problem. You need money. And what's the solution? Money will come. All right, let's get back to our things. That's how it was. That's how easy it was, and it just appeared in front of me. And there are many days it keeps happening. See, that time I had my family to look after, my own biological family. There were certain needs. But today I have a very big family, a very big animal family, so many animals on the streets, so many friends who are helping those animals. Some of them, those friends don't have that many resources or that many needs. People who are working for me to help me feed animals, to look after animals. Doctors who are depending on the fee I give to them so that they can run their business or they can pay salary to their employees. I mean, the guy from whom I get food because I order a lot of food for animals every month. There are so many things that God is taking care of. And I never thought that I'm going to share all of this with anyone online, on internet. Because when I started doing this counseling work or the energy healing work, at that point in time, if I still remember, I was not very willing to do it. But there was one lady who had cancer. She was one of my initial clients, and I never had to look for a person or market myself. She had cancer and she'd just gotten a surgery done. And she contacted me and she told me that I need to talk to you and I need healing from you. And I said, well, I'm not doing healing. I don't want to do healing. And she had met me 2 years before that, around 2 years before that. And I was doing a workshop for children. Workshop for children where I was teaching Srimad Bhagavad Gita to them in an ashram. So they were kids from a school and they had gone there for a like a whole day trip, for a yoga trip or something, and I was just doing that workshop. She became the facilitator. I mean, randomly. She was just in a shop, like a milkshake shop or something, or like the smoothie or biscuit shop which is there in an ashram. She was there, she really was enjoying it, and she said, hey, can I be a part of this workshop? I said, yeah, sure, you can be one of the facilitators. So she gave the kids some free goodies from her side. So I could see that she had this compassionate nature, and that's why we became friends, like hi, hello friends, and we exchanged numbers. Sometime later, I was in Nepal and she was also in Kathmandu, and when I met her for the first time, that was in South India. So then she was in Kathmandu and she knew that I was there, and she messaged me saying that I've been going through a lot and I want you to heal me. And I told her that I'm not a healer. Okay, like I can do tarot readings because I used to share tarot readings back then also. That messages or videos I've already removed. It was in another channel. So she probably saw it, or I don't know. I have no idea why she communicated with me or she contacted me. And she had not spoken about money or fees, neither had I. But I think people who are from the West, people who are from the other countries, they are pretty much aware about therapies and healings, and much more aware, I think. But now I think in India also people understand that somebody is giving my time and energy, so it has to have a certain fee to it. I did not care about it, to be honest. And the ashram she was in, it was my brother's friend's ashram. So when I went to the ashram, I had no idea that every single person in the ashram already knew me and they'd read my book also. I had no idea. I just went to meet that girl, that lady, because she really insisted. She said, please, 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 I need your help, please come over. And I was like, okay, fine, what's the worst that can happen? I'll go to an ashram, meet this lady, she's had some difficulty. Okay, fine, let's do it. This time also I was traveling, and I did want to stay in Kathmandu for some time, but I had no way to do it. Because again, like last time, I had a little bit of money, just wanted to get away, just wanted to do a longer course of silent retreat, being by myself and not talking for 20 or 30 days. That was my plan, not talking to anyone whatsoever. So I completed that 20 days retreat, and I was out in the world and doing things, and that's when she said come over, and I went to meet her. I did a session with her, and she just gave me cash. She gave me a lot of cash. Whatever lot of means, I'd never asked for it. So when you don't ask for it, everything is lot for you. And I said, hey, why are you giving me money? She's like, you just made me feel so good. I feel so happy. I feel so relaxed. I'm so positive. And she gave me some designer clothes as well. She gifted me designer clothes, and she gave me, this is your fee because you specially came down for me. I am such a far off place. She was in a really far off place, and I was in the middle of the city. And you came here, you didn't even ask for money, but I'm so happy that I want to give you your fees. And I was like, oh, wow, that's something I needed right now. Okay, I kept the money. I kept the fee. Then in the same ashram, the owner of the ashram was like, we are very happy to have you here. Everybody here has read your book. They all like it. They were all bunch of youngsters, and I think my cousin had passed around the book to them, and that's how they knew it. And he was like, I'm willing to offer you a job as long as you live here in my ashram, because we have a lot of clients all over the world. They come here for different types of healings. So they were doing a lot of oil based Ayurvedic healings and those type of things, but they did not have someone like me, an energy healer or a counselor over there. So they said, or even a tarot card reader. And my book is also, if you've read it or you've known a little bit about it, it's about the same thing. Unconditional love. Heal the inner child, heal the adult who needs unconditional love, and then you can attract it. So he was like, the owner was like, why don't you stay here? I'm gonna give you boarding, lodging, your own place, and you can heal or you can work with as many people as you want, and I'm not gonna charge you any commission. And I was like, why not? You should, you must. He's like, no, I just want someone to be here who's like you, and I'm gonna just probably talk to people. I'll mention it that there's someone like you over here. So that will be all. You stay here for as long as you want. You work here for as long as you want. You don't have to do anything. You just stay here. Be my guest and work here. I was just stunned in the middle of nowhere, though I did not take that offer. Let me tell you that also. I did not accept that offer. I told him that I am, working on my own self. I'm doing my inner work. This literally happened out of the blue. But I stayed there for 2-3 days. I used to play a lot of music over there with my ukulele. I hung out for 2-3 days. It was a yoga retreat. And plus Ayurvedic treatment and all of that, how it was working in such a beautiful place. It was very interesting. And then I came back from there. But I'm just sharing this with you guys that you can create jobs, you can create money, you can create love, you can create whatever you want. You just have to have faith, and you just have to just actually chill. See, when you don't ask for anything, that's the time you actually receive a lot. But there's an opposite thing going in the market, that you ask for it and then you receive it. So basically what they're trying to say is that you should be aware about what you want and then forget about it, and then it will happen. So this word manifestation should actually be replaced with faith. Have faith. Enjoy your life. Enjoy every day. See, back then also I was literally enjoying my time. I was not bothered about money or job or anything. I was living every day, and every day I was thankful to God that, okay, you know what, I really wanted to be in Kathmandu. I love Nepal, I love Kathmandu, I love Pokhara. Kathmandu also, not the city, but places which are, like close to the city, but there's a vibe. Kathmandu has a vibe. So I was like, I love to be here. Thank you, God, that I'm here. What else can I want? I was going through something and I needed my own answers and I needed my own healing. So God, you are providing me that platform. You're providing me that energy. You're providing me that place. And I'm so grateful to you. I didn't want to go to Goa or any such place where, it's a different energy. Pokhara is really nice. These places are very nice. So I was like, what else can I ask for? This is what I need right now. And God is giving me that. And then God felt so good, so happy just by that gesture of gratefulness that God increased it. And I remember after that I made some friends and I went to Chitwan. I never knew that Chitwan was such a nice place. There were wild animals literally walking on the streets. Like normally, because there's a big national park over there and they love animals, and animals are kind of also helping commercially. There were so many elephants everywhere. I mean, rivers. I was just shocked. I was like, how did I even come here? And initially I was very reluctant because I was with a couple. And I didn't want to be with a couple. In fact, they shared their room with me. That was the weirdest part. I was always with them. Sometimes I used to just leave them alone and go away somewhere. And then they would look for me and they would say, hey, come on, you should be around. You should be with us. So it was insane. Like, why would I be with a couple, be the third wheel, But it was fun. I mean, it was a good, interesting experience. So yeah, this is where I'm going to close this video. This storytelling that I'm doing for you guys. I can share a lot of these stories which can help you build your positivity, help you build confidence, and help you just looking around everything and just being thankful. And that is how you become a manifester, because you're already manifested. All of us are already manifested. We are already here. So what more can we do other than just observe and be grateful? See you in the next one. One love, peace out, and victory to Ram. Mwah. XOXO.